Welcome to Wealthing Talks. I am your host, Alicia Castillo Holley, bringing you real-life conversations from Silicon Valley or somewhere around the world. We will talk about disruptors, angel investments, venture capital, and of course, family offices. Join me along with my children, their families, friends, disruptors, and investors as we explore the fascinating world of creating wealth in a completely different and authentic way. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us. It is such a pleasure to introduce our guest of today, Avanthi. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Alicia.
Yeah, so we're gonna get right in. We met here in Silicon Valley, but I want you to tell us, what are you doing now and how did you get here? How did you get to do what you're doing now?
Wonderful. So what I'm doing right now is something which is very close to my heart, and that is something that excites me every day that I wake up in the morning to do, and that is investing in quantum computing and AI startups. I started this fund a couple of months ago, actually. It's very, very new. But I have been in the VC world for the last 9 years, and I have been a serial entrepreneur for the last 25 plus years, almost 30 years, and a technologist at that. So bringing all of them together, I think, in this venture.
So how did you get to do this? I mean, were you born in a family that was doing quantum computer, or did you find it through education? How did you find this area?
Good question. I'm a first-time entrepreneur in a first-generation business, you could say. And I've always been inclined towards technology, although I did my MBA in finance. So actually, my educational background is all finance and commerce and what have you. In fact, I received an honorary gold medal from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for having achieved 100% marks in accountancy, which
Oh,
is
wow.
I know. So actually, that is my education background. But soon after I graduated, I got into programming. And this was in the 90s. So I was programming in C and Unix and working alongside other IIT programmers, etc. And I loved it and continued doing that. And when I started my business and recruiting engineers, I was programming partly, but then moved over to managing engineers who were doing the programming for me.
Did
Yeah.
you do Fortran 4? I learned Fortran 4.
Well,
That's how old I am.
I, Fortran was not taught. I think it was like gone by then. So C was the operational language at the time that I entered the workspace. And then soon Java took over. I did not do much programming in Java, a little bit in Python, and a lot in C, a lot in Unix. Yeah.
Wow, I remember I love programming, and I remember when I was in Chile, where I lived for 7 years. Nobody knew how to do HTML, and I taught myself HTML to do the websites because there was internet was just starting, and then I make this very complex website with layers and matrix, and people say, "Who did that?" I did. And how do you learn that? I don't know. I was just endlessly taking classes at night in my own computer at
Wonderful.
home. And, I love programming. It's very logical. So
Well, you haven't decided to take it further, like make it a
programming?
profession? Yeah.
No, no, actually, no, but I do have processes. So I,
Okay.
I have full process to evaluate companies. We have 59 variables and we combine them in the back. And I'm very process oriented. So I
Got it.
do,
Got it.
some people are lucky I have a process.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, intuition and process, nothing beats that, right? A combination of those two.
Yeah, and the more you learn, the more you develop that intuition. So
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
But
yeah.
when I got onto the technical side, I liked that part of me so much, and that enthused me so much that I decided to make that into my business. So once I could not do programming myself and had to hire engineers to do it, I positioned myself as the technology architect. And I was billing to customers like either technical project manager or a tech evangelist or any of those things. So we used to do discovery workshops for the Fortune 2000 companies, recommend to them what technologies to use. And once they decide on that, then go forward and execute the software project for them.
Was that your business? Do you
That
still
was
have
my
it?
that's that's my business. I don't have that. I've moved on from that, but yes, that was my main business. Apart from that, I was also involved in a microfinance business for about 4 years. That's a completely
Wow.
different ball game.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
you're on FINCA as well. I saw you at the event the other day. So tell us a little bit about FINCA and your involvement there.
FINCA is a wonderful organization. It was a tap on the shoulder. Someone knew somebody. There was a board member at FINCA who was recruiting, and I had a friend who knew I was looking for board positions and knew this board member. So she said, "And you have microfinance background, so why don't you interview?" So that's how I got into FINCA. FINCA is a great organization. Some of the founding members are still very much in charge and running it, and their vision is amazing. And that is something that actually is close to my heart too, that empowering societies is by empowering the women, and empowering women is by giving them financial freedom, financial agency.
That I love it, financial agency. So it's not pity, it's really lifting the bar for them.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so many people helped me. Uh, I wouldn't be here with the very generous support of so many people. And sometimes it was not money, but it was like bringing food or giving me beds for my kids. And there's so many ways. But we have to move beyond just mentoring, like somebody said, over mentor, underfunded. Um,
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes,
yeah,
it is giving them some way that they can take care of themselves, and that's why I say agency to have their financial freedom.
that's fantastic. If you were to write yourself a letter to your 20-year-old self, what are the lessons that you have learned that you didn't know that you would like to? I mean, if you had a magic wand, you would tell yourself, "Hey, this is something that you didn't know when you were in your 20s." What would that be?
There are so many such lessons. There are so many such lessons, Alicia. It's difficult for
You
me to
just
say.
just just go with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I do spend a lot of time with regret, which later I learned that I should not, and I should take that as a data point and not as a regret. So that probably I'll start off with that lesson that in anything that you did that did not work out for you, look at that as a data point. Because if you did not try hard enough, you did not make mistakes, the learning would not be as much. So probably that's one. One of the uh, things I would definitely tell myself, and the sooner I learned that, my life became better, is the power to say no. I'm calling it power and not just the ability, because this is something that one has to learn. At least for me, it was a learning process to be able to say no when somebody asks you to do something, um, uh, especially people who are close to you or have some kind of influence over you in your life, and they ask you to do something, or they use emotional pressure or societal norms and things like that. The ability to say no and not feel guilty about it or not have a self-dialogue about it and keep wondering, did I do the right thing? That is very, very, very important. That's one lesson I would give myself. The other
Wait,
lesson,
wait, 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 wait. So how do you do that? How do you say no graciously?
so in most things in life, actually, I'm a very good student in the sense that, my teachers often told me that, I was one of the best students that they taught, kind of a thing. But in life, I don't think I was such a good student because I had to learn it time and time again before I learned the lesson that I should learn to say no and respect myself. Life has taught me in the sense that I guess I can divide my life very clearly into two parts, three maybe, but first, right now, for two. One part is when I was living with my parents, and the other part is when I left home.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I lost my dad at 19. I left home at 20. And life after 20 was very, very different than life before that. So before that, my values of not saying no, not having boundaries, everything worked superbly well because I was with a family who loved me unconditionally. And even if I said no and I said yes, yes, yes to everything else, they would say no, do not say yes and take care of yourself, kind of thing. So I didn't have to bother about myself. But after 20, I think I didn't make the switch to think that now I'm in the world, I'm not in my family anymore. So I started applying the same values, especially when people behave as if they are your friends and they are your family and that actually don't always have your best interests at heart. And so I'd learned time and again, after being hurt time and again, that I should learn to take care of myself. And it is okay. And I do not have to feel guilty or feel that I'm a bad person if I look after myself too.
Wow. Good lesson.
Yeah.
Good lesson.
Yeah, it was very drawn out. I didn't anticipate the answer would be like this.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's pretty powerful. Yeah. And it is a skill to learn how to say no.
That is right. And along with that comes the skill of drawing boundaries. That means that shows that you respect yourself.
Yeah, but especially with oh, it depends where you're born. I mean, I was born and raised in Venezuela, and the amount of requests that I've received throughout my life that are on some of them are unreasonable. So those are
Mm.
easy ones.
Mm,
But there's some that are right on the border, and then you realize you can't take care of everybody,
that's right.
and like I used to tell some of my family members, I have this little boat with me and my kids. And if I put another person, the boat would sink with me and my
Oh
two
my
kids,
God, that's such a lovely analogy.
and you too. So I said, it's just, there's no more space in my boat. I'm so sorry, but yeah. And then somebody said, you don't need to be sorry. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. I am sorry because I wish I could do that. But if I don't take care of myself, then the boat sinks and my kids sink. And no, it's just, there's no more space. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And what was the other one that I interrupted you?
Did you interrupt me? I think I.
I did, I did. I got excited
Okay.
about that.
Okay. So boundaries, I think most of the lessons are like this. Approval seeking. I was a people pleaser and an approval seeker. I do not know why I grew why those qualities came inside me, but they did. And I would tell my younger self that do not be a people pleaser. It's okay. Confrontation is okay, and you do not have to seek approval. What one seeks is being respected and to respect others. So mutual respect. Love grows, love grows. It's very good. So love is the emotional part of that respect. But the bottom line is respect.
Well, that's so interesting because you're such a nice person. So
Oh,
I could see, it's so interesting because you say people's pleaser. No, you're just a very nice person. So yeah, and I truly enjoy all of our interactions and conversations. It's like, oh, this here, it's so nice.
oh,
So I think,
thank you.
yeah, I think just your personality comes through as a very, very, very nice person. And especially in finance, it's a toxic industry sometimes. And in mathematics or in programming, it's very dry. So you stand up
Thank you,
as a
Alicia.
very, very caring and very nice person. Not very caring, just very nice person. So that is so interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I wish the people that were listening, if they have that personality, they can relate to that and they can say, I can still be a nice person and respect myself. And
You know what? That brings me to this point. I read somewhere that every reaction that one has, every strong reaction, is actually a confession. Let me explain that point. What I mean to say is, if somebody says something to you or does something to you, and it generates a strong reaction inside you, that means something triggered inside you. You're actually confessing that there is something inside you that needs to be healed or that needs to be resolved or addressed. So that is why every strong reaction is actually a confession. Like when you say that, you think I'm a nice person and you're very happy to see me and stuff like that, that is also a confession. Because there is that abundance of loving and empathy and compassion inside you that you can see it in another person.
that's one part of the confession. The other part of the confession is that in this industry, we deal with a lot of people who are extreme, well, on the opposite. They're extremely
Yeah, I
selfish,
see that point.
and
Yeah.
and sometimes they just I wouldn't call it abusive, but their expectations are unrealistic. Like,
Right, right,
you have a fund, I have a fund, you invest, I invest. There's people that come and tell me, I would like to invest with you. Can you give me your due diligence? And I say, well,
right.
you need to pay my team. I need to pay my team. It's like, no, but it's as a friend. No. I mean, I don't go to the grocery store and say, I have a friend, can you give me the food for free? So
Yeah, exactly. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. But I had to
Yeah.
learn that because I was a single mom in an immigrant, so there was just no other option. But yeah, the other confession is that sometimes people are unreasonable and they
Mm-hmm.
ask for things that are just on the border of inappropriate. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they, I don't think they mean badly necessarily, but it's a lack of understanding how the world functions and how the people's lives are.
That's a very interesting point. Did you find a difference in the people's expectations of you based on which country you were in? Like you said, you were born in Venezuela, you lived in Australia, now you're in Silicon Valley.
I do find people have different expectations, and one of them, as we were talking before we started the podcast, is people think because I'm a Venezuelan, I should invest in Venezuela, or
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a woman, I should invest in women only, or because I'm a I'm Latina. So people have some different expectations. The other thing that happens is that some people think that I don't know what I'm doing, and they start explaining to me
Yeah.
how these deals are. Does it happen to you as well? I mean, they call it
Yes.
mansplaining, but it's not really mansplaining, and because it doesn't happen always with men. But I do see very often that people look at me with pity these poor women. When I lived in Australia, people used to think that I've been a cleaner, and I don't mind cleaning, but I had
Yeah, that's
already had
right.
6
Presumptuous.
companies. I had a fund, and I had a chauffeur, and I was very financially successful, and it was by choice that I moved to Australia. But I moved from Chile, and I had a wonderful time in Chile. And
Oh,
so there's all these expectations
you're
about,
very well traveled.
yeah, well, yeah, I lived in 9 countries, but to your point, uh, there's the norms of society that are
Right.
imposed on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I do see the different norms, the norms change according to the culture. So, for example, I now live in the US, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people think that if you have a living maid, you're being cruel to them. And why would I? This is a job that I pay and I treat them well, and they're part of the family.
They should
But
be, I think they're grateful too that you're giving them a job and allowing them the opportunity to earn money.
yes, and whenever their Women's Day, I always say, people say, "What is the most influential woman in your life?" You know what? My cleaners, and my maids, because I was able to do a lot of things because they could do that at home. But having said that, I never thought that taking care of the house was my responsibility. I just didn't have a partner. But if I had a
Right.
partner, I would
You
have
would be sharing.
expected to be, hey, you need to do this as well, or you need to follow up on this because otherwise it's just too hard. So there are some cultural norms
Mm.
along this line, and I'm going to stop there because this is your podcast, not mine. But along those lines, the fact that I take good care of my parents, it's something that some people don't understand. In fact, my dad lived with me. He was deaf and blind, and I adore my dad. He was very funny. There was no victimization on him. And I always say, he said that he lost his eyesight because my mom was so beautiful,
Oh.
and he lost his hearing because she talked too much. So he was really, really hilarious. And he said, "Don't confuse communication. I don't see, I don't hear, but I can talk." And he was just this very, very funny person. And a lot of people felt that for me it was an obligation, and the way I saw it, it was an honor, and it was fun to be with him, to try to figure out how to communicate, how to
Right.
and we had all these gadgets and all these textile things. So uh, going back to norms, the expectations, and I at that time I just didn't feel it was imposed on me. It was something that I choose
Mm-hmm.
to, and I had fun.
You have
Yeah.
a warm heart, so that definitely helped.
Well, I don't know, but yeah, it was. I really enjoy it. It was fun. It was My dad was a fun person. Yeah, he could tell I have a lot of roses in the front of my house. He could
Mm.
tell the hour of the day by the smell,
Oh, wow.
because he would ask uh, what hour it is because he couldn't see, and then he said, "What is that because of course roses have a sense of smell, but he could say, what is the color of the rose?" So he would he would be around the house, or he would open the door and walk outside, and he said, "It must be 3 o'clock because the pink roses are smelling." And
So his other senses became very attuned and
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah, and people were like,
sensitive.
"Wow, how do you know?" And it's like, yeah, he's smart, but it was just funny. It was just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But going back to you,
Uh-huh.
and you're learning. You're now investing. Tell us
Yes.
about NextVerse Ventures. And then I have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So NextVerse Ventures, my thesis is we are investing in AI and quantum computing sectors, startups in the US. Um, Quantum computing is around the corner, just like how AI had its Gen AI moment when in 2021, and everyone came to know that yes, AI, 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 but actually it was existing well before that, about 10, 15 years before that. It was called different names, but it was still very much there. AI will continue to be there. There's no two thoughts about that. And we are going to continue to invest in AI startups which have defensible moats. But on top of that, I'm very closely following quantum computing because in the next 2 to 3 years, that is the industry or that is the technology that's going to take over the world. Because actually, nature is quantum in the sense that nature is made of quantum particles. It behaves in the nature of the quantum particles. Like for example, when I say a quantum particle, it has things like superposition. That means it can exist in different positions until one actually sees it, and then the reality is collapsed. So it's actually a wave of probability before the reality of observing something makes it into a measurable reality. So this Schrodinger had come up with that function. So there are many such qualities in the quantum world, and the universe is made up of the quantum world that cannot be simulated using our supercomputers right now because we do not have the computing power, nor do we have the energy that is required to simulate. I'll just give you just one simple example, which tells you what the big problem is. To simulate a coffee bean, the molecule of a coffee bean accurately, we would need more bits. You know, computers are made of bits, zeros and
Mhm.
ones. We would need more bits than there are atoms in the universe.
Wow.
Yeah, just let that land for a minute, then you'll realize how difficult it is to simulate reality accurately.
Now, is that a function of the size or the complexity? Or what is the function of how do you
It's a
determine?
function of understanding the thing.
Okay.
Um, the quantum computers are made of qubits, which are the little atoms which behave like how the universe is. They are quantum in nature. So for them to simulate nature is like second nature to them because they are part of nature. For for our computers to simulate nature, for the zeros and ones to simulate nature, a bunch of instructions have to be given to them. If I were to give you an example, and this is a rough example, it is not an exact example, because we cannot understand quantum physics and mechanics with our five senses. We have to go beyond them. This example is suppose I want to make music and I'm using guitar to make music, right? It is very intuitive for me. I strum a few strings, I elongate a few strings, stress a few ones, and then music comes. And based on how I'm hearing, I create music. If I were to create the same music using a computer, I'll have to give a bunch of instructions which are not artistic at all. So the artistic soul does not get into it. And yet it doesn't sound exactly how I want the music to sound. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, small natural problems you can simulate in the computers. Like right now, you have artificial music, you have the MIDI box and things like that. But just if you expand this problem, then artificial supercomputers reach their limit, which is called the computational wall. In fact, I have a whole thesis on this, which I'm very happy to explain maybe in another podcast or another presentation, as to how supercomputers have hit a computational wall, and the only way forward is through quantum, because nature is quantum, and to understand it, we must use quantum.
So when you say that you are, thank you for that. When you're, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of requests for a podcast on quantum computing.
I'll be
So
happy to.
yeah, so when you say you're investing in quantum computing, can you give us a couple of examples?
Um, so right now, quantum computing has not reached the stage wherein it is completely fault tolerant. What I mean by that is these atoms that are qubits, as we call them, they are so extremely sensitive to their environment that a very small disturbance in the environment will change the calculations that these things are making. It is a benefit as well as a liability. It is a benefit because their sensing capacity is so much better than any other computer's sensing capacity. So once quantum sensing comes in, it beats all other sensing devices. But the drawback is that it is prone to errors. So the moment the fault tolerance reaches a certain level that is acceptable for enterprises and industries, we will have applications over there. So right now, when I'm looking at investing in quantum computers, I'm looking at investing in those verticals where quantum computing can be very easily taken advantage of. Example, security. When we have quantum computers, the RSA method of security that we have right now could be broken. The potential is huge. And the quantum safe computing is that's why necessary. The other one is new materials discovery. New materials discovery, the quantum computer can do better than our supercomputers, the classical computers as we call them now, because simulating new materials means acting like nature, being nature, and seeing how the molecules behave with each other, what the interactions are, and all those kind of things, which can be done very easily, which is like an application made for quantum computers. So that is another area. Now, new materials discovery can be two ways. One could be drug discovery, because drug discovery also at the end of the day is new material discovery.
Yeah.
And it could also mean new materials for solving today's problems, such as energy. Maybe an alternative to lithium, maybe an alternative material that does carbon capture. The possibilities are endless.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that. I was thinking it's so interesting because I think about basic research as
Uh-huh.
a scientist, as a biology scientist. But I like physics, but because I did study physics, I look at more of the application. So the
Got it.
outer external part is very interesting what you say. And now I'm going to take that to the next question,
Hmm.
which is a combination of business,
Hmm.
technology, and investing. And
Okay.
I'm introducing those questions only in the past two podcasts. And
Okay.
that question is related to a word that I created called wealthing,
Okay. I
which
love
is,
that.
yeah, a lot of people do. But
Yeah.
I actually trademarked that like 30 years ago. But
Okay.
I don't think entrepreneurship is the solution as I used to. I don't think investing is the solution as I used to. I want to change venture capital, but wealthing is a mechanism of creating wealth, and so
That's
you
right.
transform innovation, creativity, science into something that creates a lot of value, but
Hmm.
also you also create jobs and you also create even taxes. So, how do you think your approach to investing creates wealth? Have you thought about that?
Yes, yes. Um, so wealth actually is different things to different people, but I think here you're talking about material wealth, right?
Wealth can be spiritual wealth.
Yes. So wealth is basically abundance of resources that you control. So it could be, like you said, spiritual wealth, material wealth, relationship wealth, health, what have you. But when you're talking in terms of investing and creating wealth, I'm assuming that you're talking about material wealth.
Yeah, I ask the questions. You pick how you want to answer, but yes.
Okay. So since you're giving me the freedom to think as I please, to me, actually, wealth means freedom and agency, and for that, you need resources. Just pure capital doesn't cut it. That means if one might have raw capital, but if one does not have, one is not organized oneself in such a way that one feels free to spend and spend wisely or whatever it is that makes them tick, then that wealth doesn't mean much to them because they're not able to use it. I'll give an
Mhm.
example. Example is a miser. That miserly person keeps collecting wealth without his standard of living increasing any at all, and also without helping any of his near and dear ones living in a better way. So, what is the use of that wealth? It might as well be like a Sudoku game or something. It doesn't mean anything. Those numbers mean nothing. So that's what I mean by wealth means actually something that you're internally also you have the freedom and the agency to use the wealth in the way that you want to use it. So that's where the agency part comes in. So what my attitude? So when I'm investing in startups, and I am doing this because I feel I'm good at this. I have been a founder, and I have a scar tissue to show. Like I've failed few businesses, I've succeeded in a few, so I feel I'm good at this. I understand this very well. Second thing, I love it. I love technology. I love entrepreneurship, and the combination of these two. I mean, this is like God-given opportunity for me. and it pays. So there is money in this. When founders do very well, there is money. And lastly, the world needs it. So Japanese have a concept called ikigai. It's something like, roughly translated, it means a reason for being. So what they say is when these four items come together, that is your sweet spot. That is your ikigai. So everyone I feel should work towards their own ikigai. For me, it is this venture investing that brings all these things together for me and where I feel I can add the maximum value. For somebody else, it's something else. So, some amount of self reflection to see what one is good at, what one loves doing, and what the world is willing to pay for and the world needs.
And that creates what is the name again?
Ikigai, Ikigai.
Ikigai. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that. So
Yeah, very
that
good.
that leads me to the last question,
Uh-huh.
which is a question about this gift that we have that is life. When I was 13, I say this all the time. When I was 13, I fell off a horse. I was in coma. I saw myself dying. And then a few days later, I woke up.
Oh, we
And
didn't have this conversation. I'm hearing the first time.
yeah, well, whatever. It's interesting. And I was a kid. I was 13. Um, but when I woke up, I realized that life is a gift, and it can disappear like that. So I decided I'm going to make the best of this gift that I have, that is life.
Mhm.
But I also think about who am I when I'm not here? What is
Mhm.
my essence?
That's
And
right.
and and this also, now that we have the capacity to interact with people that we don't know, that we've never known, people that are watching these, that are learning from you, that are getting to know you, that you don't know, it's you're transmitting your essence to them. But there will be a time where you're not here, and your essence is whatever is left behind when you're not here in time and space. And who do you think you would be when you're not here anymore? What is your essence?
So, I'm thinking about how people when they interact with me, my very close ones, I'm talking about my family and my close friends and things like that. What do they see and what I see in myself? And I think one quality which I feel is my essence is authenticity. It's good and it's bad, but I see the good points. Uh, Authenticity is, I mean, as a person, I'm evolving. Like when you asked me that question about what are the lessons you would tell your 20-year-old, and I gave all those lessons that I would tell. So that means I've evolved. I'm not emotionally there at 20 where I'm right now. So whenever I'm evolving and as I'm evolving, I'm being authentic. And I think that is the true essence. I know people leave legacies in terms of maybe some kind of charity work, some kind of, I mean, people have different ideas about legacies, and those are all very laudable, commendable. I haven't thought about my legacy in terms of material stuff. I've thought about my legacy when I think about it in terms of the value I leave behind in the hearts of the people that are close to me. People who are not close to me, it doesn't matter, right? They would pick up whatever they want from whoever they want in terms of wisdom or nuggets of wisdom or whatever it is that they want, right? But whose life you have influenced, those are the ones who are close to you, either in terms of friendships or family. And
But
yes,
there's some people that you would influence through these podcasts that would never be able to communicate with you.
then I would communicate my authenticity and encourage them to be authentic themselves. And I would communicate that the biggest victory in the world is actually understanding yourself inside deep. And that is a continual process. And when you have command over yourself, that is what matters. It doesn't matter what material wealth you have command over. Because if you're not happy here, if you're not resolved here, it doesn't matter how the rest of the world is.
Yeah. What a great way to end the podcast. Avanti, thank you so much for being with us. How do people contact you?
Thank you, Alicia, very much. I'm doing podcast with you was so much fun. I didn't realize it would be this much fun. People can contact me by my email. I think that's one of the best ways, which is my first name, Avanti, at nextverse.vc. And the other way is my phone number, but I don't think I'll give that out in the
No,
public.
no, no, no. We'll put your name in the credits.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being with us.
I loved it. Thank you so much, Alicia, for inviting me.
So thank you so much for being part of the podcast or listening here. Avanthi is a super smart person, as you could tell. She lives here in Silicon Valley, very involved in microfinance and supporting other people, especially underrepresented founders. But she's also a very good investor, and she works with corporations, helping them design what is the architect that they need, which is very handy now with AI. Most importantly, she's just a super, super, super nice person. And I was very surprised when she told me that she had to learn how to do healthy boundaries, because she's one of these people that you meet at an event and she's always talking, oh, I have this, maybe this could be of interest to you. And I'm the same way. So that's why we connect. Thank you so much for being with us. This is your host, Alicia Castillo Holley. You're in Wealthing, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to our Wealthing Talks. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. To stay connected, visit us at wealthing.com. This is Alicia Castillo Holley, your host, and until next time, yours in Wealthing.